Welcome to Storm Watch by GreyNoise Intelligence. Each week we cover the latest info on what's happening at GreyNoise, Census, Vulncheck, and Run Zero. Take a look at a roundup of important and timely cybersecurity topics, toss out some expert opinions, and drop the occasional conspiracy theory. All right, so today we are talking about AI layoffs shaking up the entire tech world, not just cyber. Also shaking up bug bounty programs that are getting swamped with sloppy AI submissions, and the ongoing struggle to fill cybersecurity jobs, which I might take umbrage with because I don't know if I believe it. We're also going to check in with what each of our respective benevolent overlords would like us to talk about today. And you all, for the people that are joining, you can see everybody, and I'll introduce them one by one. Kimber, welcome to the show today. Thank you for being here.
Good morning.
And what's your vibe today? What's the vibe check going for you today?
I think the vibe check is overall, it's really windy here. The vibe check is allergies. It's allergy
Oof.
season. I think that is an understandable premise for everyone. The vibes are allergies.
My grandkids are both in the throes of allergies, and they're a bit too young for any kind of relief, so it's not great.
Ugh,
I
that's
hear
the
ya.
worst. Worst.
Actually, speaking of that, hi, Benjamin. Hi, Ezekiel.
No.
Todd, good morning.
Good morning to you, Baberto. How are you?
I am, it's beautiful in Maine right now. I hear it's not gonna be so beautiful for you tomorrow.
Oh my God, I live in an oven. Global warming is real. Austin, Texas will hit 105 degrees Fahrenheit tomorrow. And
Dang.
Wow.
Better
That's
you all than me
early.
all.
yeah.
Oh, hopefully that's not impacting your vibe. You got a vibe check today. Is it a good vibe today? Bad vibe today?
Pretty good vibe today. I'm flitting off. I'm gonna miss 105 degrees tomorrow because I'm gonna be on an intro plane to Canada. I'm going to Montreal and going to be talking.
Oh, the old attic, the U.S. attic.
Oh, you're gonna get to see Ron because you're both going to that Canuck Saber conference, whatever up there.
It seems like that's a place to be this week because I've seen a lot of folks online mention.
I'm there. HD is also going to be there.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, Ron and everybody. So it'll be a blast.
I'm gonna be interested to see what happens when you take I can't wait to see what happens when you take that plane back into here because of what happened to that guy this week. But we're not gonna talk about that on the show. But
yeah, I really want to bring my laptop. I don't know if I should.
I don't think you should.
I don't want to lose my laptop.
I'll just leave it. Ship it.
I mean, you also have just enough time to back create a whole bunch of social media posts on alternate accounts too, if you want to do that. But that's a whole other story.
It's NorthSec, right, Todd?
That's it. NorthSec. Yep.
Yeah.
We actually, I'll let Glenn. We'll get Glenn first. Glenn, vibe check.
It's fine. It's on one hand, it's pickleball day, as everyone knows.
Oh gosh, I knew that. I was actually going to do a no pickleball rule today, but I forgot, man.
It's only a few more weeks, don't worry. And then on the other hand, it's Patch Tuesday, so I don't know what the stars have in store today.
Oh, that's not great. Patch Tuesday, I forgot about that.
Oh, I bet you that the Scissor Kev is going to just rocket right past the 1337th Kev today.
Oh man.
Do we want to talk about that? We didn't really put it. I think I did.
No, don't worry about the Kev. Overwatch, how's it going? I hear you recovered from RSA. What's the vibe going today? Recovered from RSA and now heads down play. Yeah, Black Cat planning. Ugh. And all in all doing all right. Nice. And a meta mode. Yeah, I get it. That's kind of where everything is right now.
Like the shrug.
Yeah. So we had our team offsite last week. So Glenn, myself, and the rest of the labs team, but Remy. And so my vibe, I'm riding that vibe from it was a good week. We had a lot of fun last week. And what I was gonna say is we had a sneak preview of the workshop that Ron is running at the Canuck conference. I'm gonna keep doing that just to annoy all the Canadians. And it's great. It is
they
epic.
Haven't been through enough.
Right.
You know what? It builds character. You're in for a treat. This is one of the best Suricata trainings, exploit trainings, web train. Ron did
it's a lot. in a good way.
It is
It's a lot.
beautiful. It is absolutely gorgeous. Ron is amazing. Ron did such a great job.
Also,
on
he
this
thought
thing,
he
so
had 3 hours, and then he just found out he has
It's
2
two.
hours. So this is gonna be a lot more content than time. So there'll be some take
Yeah.
home artifacts that'll be useful.
Great though. Cool. So I am going to show that you all know that we have this. We have a podcast because you are listening / watching it right now. And if you go down to here, it will make Overwatch's day even better vibe. Maybe go from meh to like amazing if you were to subscribe to stuff, because that helps us know stuff and contact you, and you get to see all the things that we do. And it's pretty cool. And we are going to start with a poll. Jordan did a fantastic job again, as usual, with our poll stuff. And this was an interesting one. We didn't I didn't get advance notice about this, or I don't think any of us did, but that's great. The surprise this one yesterday. What do you miss from the slow internet? I'm in Maine, so we kind of have slow internet every so often anyway, but not this kind of slow. Wattpad, Fark, MySpace, and albino black sheep were the four things.
The way that you said Wattpad is sending me.
Yeah.
Wattpad?
Wattpad. I'm doing it. This was an interesting one. So MySpace was I never know what these things are, but it was the clear leader across all. Wow, I forgot the comments. Across all of them. And as I pointed out in the pre-show, like Fark is still a thing. You can still go to Fark and look at Fark like it, and it hasn't changed.
You can still
at
go
all.
to MySpace.
This is true. This is true.
You can still go to all of these.
The internet is forever.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that. We'll see. The computers used to scream out in pain when we connected to the internet. That was a warning. We didn't heed it. That's always a good one. The comments are great on here, so I'm scrolling through them slow enough that you can pause if you want to watch this later. I'm not reading any of them.
Nope.
Because I'm just not. So
someone mentioned the old dig site, and that had left my memory, but that was a core part of my online existence for a long time.
I'm pretty certain that I can tell people's age if they tell me what their main internet haunts are.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm very confident in my skills as an internet anthropologist. I think
you
that's
should be
the
the bark, like a carnival barker, but at DEF CON. But it's like, guess your age based on that.
Yeah, it's good cold.
And your money can go to EFF or something. Like pay $1, and Kimber does her thing, and then EFF gets $1.
I'm very confident in my ability to do this. Yes.
And if Kimber's wrong, you get to dunk her in a booth. I don't know.
No, that sounds terrible.
You get to dunk Todd in a booth.
I'm not surprised though that MySpace won the vast majority, given that you have to be what's the term, clinically online in order to have appreciated Fark, I think, and Wattpad for that matter.
For those that don't know, Wattpad is a fanfic site first and foremost that I believe mostly teenagers are using to talk about their favorite anime ships and such.
It's important to have a fandom.
Yeah.
And then Fark was just like a news site for dads.
I think that's a great way to describe it. Yep.
Yeah.
And then albino black sheep is like internet animations, like the old
that's right,
world
like Flash
round kind of stuff. Yeah.
Fark, because dadnews.com was taken.
All right, so we are once again succumbing to the AI overlords and having almost a complete, it's not all AI show, but somewhat AI show. The one we have to talk about, it's probably made the rounds for most everybody by now, but we'll bring it up anyway. And as I mentioned in our pre-show, like whoever it was that picked the Getty images for this particular R's post had some stuff going on, and whoever actually made that from Getty is also like, or is that, I guess it's Eric Lawson. they got some issues. If you're not watching this, you should, because it's someone that's literally murdering a robot.
Right.
With a lot of emotion, just a lot of emotion.
Well, and the robot's finger is out, so it's like he's in the robot is in the middle of a well, actually, and it's just driven him over the edge.
It's robot splaining.
Yes.
Bot
splaining.
So almost everybody that's listening or watching has had to have heard this by now. But Curl has had an issue for a couple of years now, probably ever since like the OpenAI released their first thing a couple of years ago, with people using AI to create, issues for Curl, saying we found vulnerability XYZ, and they have a lot of them. And Daniel just blew up on the socials with this. He was so frustrated. As he says, the threshold has been reached. We are effectively being DDoSed. If we could, we would charge them for this waste of our time. And it was pretty bad. They get a ton of AI slop inside of the curl project that they have to reject because it's just all garbage. And if you're just gonna wait, is this vibe vuln? Is that what this would be, like vibe vuln, vibe exploit? What, I don't know what this is.
Vibe bounty.
Vibe bounty.
Yeah, vibe bounty. If you're just gonna like run a bunch of source code through that and submit it that way, like, wow, I don't blame him for getting upset at anybody out there. So we don't receive a lot of vuln submissions to us because we basically like look for all the vuln being slung. I'm wondering if Kimber and Todd, do you guys have to deal with this at all? And Todd, since you are also someone that does CNA work, have you had to deal with this at all? Like, has this been a problem that you've been seeing?
It's not a problem for me in my CNA. My CNA, the Austin Hackers Anonymous CNA, we have a very special rule that you must demo your bug and exploit in person. So it's extremely hard, I would say, to and you have to demo it in the back room of a bar on a projector with like 30 hackers watching you.
God,
Did someone demo the robot in the bar?
What's that?
Did someone demo that robot vuln in the bar?
Yes, they did, by way of video. So there was a video demonstration, but
I want to see a robot dog in a bar.
And
that feels actually hacker to me too.
Right.
Just like got to deal your bugs in the back room.
So we don't really run into this. I run into it when like figuring out like, is there a public proof of concept exploit available, right? I'm sure Kimber has probably a million more stories on that than I do. And Kimber, what is your like gut percentage of slop versus real when it comes to like that first? I'm sure you're not doing like the first level triage, but you're around when it happens, right? At Volcheck. So
yeah, well, and we get the complaints from our customers when we miss one, which is rare, but customers catch it pretty quick. Honestly, if things are in the news at all, if there's ever a news mention, then 75% of the things on GitHub are easily crypto slop. Something trying to install a miner that is definitely not the actual exploit. Or it's just trash, it's not even like a valid attempt. So I think that we're not seeing this on the submission side because we're just not, I think this is going for like high volume things mostly. Things that are easily accessible, things that are very like open source type stuff. A lot of the open source is just getting hammered right now. I'm actually doing a talk on this for Health Isaac in next month sometime about there's a bunch of weird vulnerabilities came out around open source software, and it was just like all AI slop generated for the most part. It's so high volume. I would genuinely say like there's a lot of speculation around where the rise, like we've really seen it in the past year. There's just been a really exponential rise. And I think a lot of it is just garbage trash, unfortunately.
I mean, we've seen, not for the actual like bug bounty submissions, but of course in the traffic that we see, we can tell.
Right.
the
That's
amount
what I'm
of
wondering. Like, how much is the pickup, right? Between like, here's my garbage exploit that says it's for CVE 12345.
people just
Then
fling
that
it
turns
like
around and just gets blasted over the internet, and you guys notice it.
Yeah.
it is it. I mean, Ron's done a few blogs on bad exploits, but it's kind of where the rage that Curl feels for the submissions, I think we're starting to feel on the exploits, because it's just bad. It's just
I have
Okay,
such a
so hold on
rant
one thing.
about
So and I want Kimber to talk, but Glenn just did an inside reference, so we have to like expand the inside reference. You said Crow, and like nobody knows who Crow is talking on here. No one knows that you're talking
no. I
about.
said Curl.
Oh, Curl. I'm sorry. I thought you said Crow. All right, because
No. I was talking about
because
like
he whines about that too. All right, that's cool. All right,
What?
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, no.
yeah.
Bob thought I was talking
All
about
right.
someone that works at GreyNoise. Yeah. No, I was talking about the Curl product.
My particular rant is that there's so much wanting to be on the hype boat for this thing. There's so much more influencer culture in threat intelligence now that people will just spin up a thing and they don't have the insight to be able to determine if something is slop or not. They just see the path and they're like, oh, this exploitation is happening out there. And like, if you don't do any validation on the exploitation that you're seeing, that's like a false indicator of like, this thing will never work. I think when you look at honeypot and proof of exploitation, like there's so many things that get thrown that are not even valid. That is clearly like something running through a generator. We have like fuzzers and stuff that we see all the time, right? Like on that, but it's evolving into this really interesting AI evolution of fuzzing, the AI fuzzing.
So I want to riff off of that for a second. So I have a riff I want to throw out to you guys and see what you think. I also have another one, and I'll do reverse order so you can think about this and what do the other one because it's more involved. So just ponder this before we talk about the technical one. How much responsibility is HackerOne and other bug bounty programs have to make sure this doesn't happen? So like think about that. But and I'm really glad I had a feeling you would mention it, and I'm so glad you did, Kimber, because the fuzzing thing is a big part of it. And so I think Glenn might actually be a bit more excited about MCP servers, model context protocol servers. We talked about them last week, than I am because he's just crazy that way. But the model context protocol servers around Ghidra and all the other types of tools that let you do this kind of vuln exploitation and fuzzing and all that kind of work, they're insane. Like there's like that's like almost the largest volume of cyber oriented MCP servers that they just let AI talk to and do all this kind of thing to. So it's really easy for it to do things at scale, super fast at, the compute speed that those things can do that. And I think you're right, Kimber. Like that's got to be where a lot of this is coming from. It's like all this tooling is out there just to make it too stupid easy. Like have you guys been seeing any that's like the use of that like in any, or actually maybe even a better question, although I don't think you do because you have such amazing phone researchers at VulnCheck. I don't think any of them do this, but do any of them use those MCP servers or the automation tools around some of those frameworks to poke at the exploits that you all write? But like yours is just such great, and I'm not just sucking up. Like they have great exploits. They find great things, and it's all lovingly handcrafted. That it feels that way anyway. But do you guys use any of these tools like that at all?
As far as I know, all of our exploits are free range, artisanal, handcrafted exploits.
Farm to table.
Yeah, they're very farm to table. In some cases, pain dungeon to table. I watched that team just like going through and crafting, and like I don't think that there's any kind of going to that, because like if you're not trying to get volume, then there's no benefit in automation. So like using automation is a volume or a skill set problem. When you're doing the CTF at the conference and you're just out of your depth and you're like, well, I'll just brute force it. You know, I think that's kind of the same mindset that some of these people are in, is like, our team, they get assigned a very particular vulnerability. They have the skill set to approach that vulnerability. They read the RFPs, you know, they do the read the docs kind of thing, walk through how does this function actually work, to be able to do like a very succinct like set of fuzzing or whatever. But if Hacker One, or as I like to affectionately call them, Hackeroni, like, they're offering money in exchange for bounty. And I think that's really problematic in a lot of ways.
And if it costs me next to nothing to make to just gin up 1,000 exploits, and if 2 of them get paid, right, then I am in the black, right? Yep. So that's ultimately the problem. And so like I'm not even bothering
it's like
to
fishing,
do crime.
Basically. Like we only need a few.
Right. I'm fishing bug bounty providers, right? And when you, like, don't get me wrong, like I do think that there's obviously there's value in fuzzing, there's value in machine assisted fuzzing, there's value in machine learning, you know, monitoring and like doing the whole arbitrage on your fuzzing. But if your goal is not to do crime and your goal is not to spy on things, if your goal is purely to just sell exploits, then there's no reason to do any quality control. You know, it's buyer beware all the time. And all the ones that I've seen on GitHub usually are like filtered through somebody saying like, oh, hey, did you see this? There's like an exploit on GitHub for blah, blah, blah. And then I'll look and I'm like, well, this is obviously nonsense. It doesn't do the thing that the vulnerability is describing. And anyone watching for quality control would be able to see that instantaneously, but they don't care, right? So that's the real issue. So yes, AI, which is not real. Machine learning assisted fuzzing, definitely real, definitely useful in offense, in defense, in all the fences. But I mean, like the bug bounties have the work cut out for them to say like yes or no on is this real or is this not? Because that's not something that like they've really ever had to deal with, right? And CVE is the same way. It's very assertion based. It's like I assert that this is a bug. It's on you to tell me it's not.
So should there be a little checkbox that I used AI to submit this or built to create this?
Right. Like I think that would be a perfectly reasonable solution to the issue that these bug bounty platforms are experiencing. Like I feel like I remember seeing somewhere that the leaderboard of one of these platforms was an AI contributor. Like it wasn't even a human. It was like fully automated. I don't know if that was real or not, but I'm assuming it was because we live in a hellscape. But like I think that that would be actually a really good solution, because sometimes there might be some validity to it in some cases of just like, I would like to see an AI go through, or an LLM fuzz or AI autonomous pen tester go through and just wreck some of these programs. Just be like, see, it's so easy, a robot can do it. But I don't know. I have lots of rants about this one.
But Daniel's right? Like Daniel from Curl, like he is a curmudgeon. Like he will blow up like every 6 months about something, right? And he's earned it, right? He's been around 25 years or something doing curl.
I mean, who else has software on Mars? Like seriously,
right.
Not many people have software on Mars. So,
and that's exactly his solution is like, well, we're just going to ask, was this AI generated? And if so, reject and ban. Because it's never something useful.
Well, I mean, there's
in Curl's case, right? Because Curl's pretty good.
Yeah. I was gonna say there's still value in using tools to hunt for bugs. It's the velocity and volume issue.
No, Glenn. If you use a disassembler, then you're cheating. You have to do it with your eyeballs.
That's how you review the source. Just don't look at the source.
Right? Like the tooling is not necessarily the problem. It's the incentives. So it's getting paid. Peter says it's influence culture. And like, which I don't really understand, because like I'm publishing something on GitHub that's clearly not right. Like, won't people like, I need an AI to crawl GitHub and show me all the accounts that publish slop, and so I can ignore them forever, right? Like, that's what I need. GitHub,
Right.
get on it.
Man, the bad POC or fake POCs on GitHub is a problem. They're like, click here and send me.
And that's always been kind of a problem of like, you know, this has been a problem since my old internet is packet storm.
We just made it efficient. Yeah. What I miss about the old internet is having to submit things one by one.
Right.
I just also don't think that like anybody's learning anything from this stuff. I think it's solely like cash motivated at this point. It's not even like I'm a student trying to understand.
To learn anything, Kimber. We're done learning. The robots are here.
Yeah, just plug me in. Matrix.
Well, as Anthropic's CEO said this morning in an article, he expects there to be manager nerds who just manage an army of AI agents and no employees anymore.
AI, which is the fancy from RSA.
That's kind of like how I feel when I use ChatGPT. It's just like my little intern, you know?
Well, it's a good segue because AI is having an impact. So CrowdStrike is doing a 5% job cut, and they mentioned the fact that AI is going to take the place of a lot of that, and it's reshaping every industry, including cyber. Let's see what we got here. We have Business Insider, Duolingo. So this, I don't use Duolingo, but almost everybody that I follow on either Mastodon or Blue Sky seems to use it, because there was one day of outrage that I didn't understand until I actually poked a little more. And it's like, oh, you just fired a bunch of people and did a bunch of AI things. That's great. Or not so great. So you got that going on there. Well, and we'll talk about that. Doesn't exist. Chegg, it's an IT outfit. They just tossed a whole bunch of humans aside for AI, and it's happening in a lot of other places out there. I mean, we talked about this last year. And it was we suggested that it might not be this fast of a change. Like we said, maybe it wouldn't be as bad, but it sounds like it's bad.
Our view was specifically from the cybersecurity lens, right? Like we were thinking about SOC analysts and stuff. And from what I was reading, the CrowdStrike stuff was mostly marketing, sales related type stuff. It wasn't necessarily like their research teams. I think I did see that there was one team that was very technical that was impacted with that, because it was huge. And then the Duolingo one was translators.
Yeah. See, that one's crazy. Extra bad, because you're trying to learn a language. You need that's literally the human part of the bit, is how to pronounce or how to communicate with other humans. So like, great if AI wants to talk to AI, but people are trying to learn another language and the bot is telling them wrong. It's like taking Spanish in middle school by a non-native,
So Duolingo, right? It's very gamified. And so like
people take those streaks real seriously.
People take the streak seriously. And when you're like at a 300, 400, 500 a day streak, you tend to be in that like intermediate to coming in on expert level, right? On whatever Duolingo is. Like you probably need more like 3 years, so like 900,000 day streak or something. But there is also a class of Duolingo user that is a native speaker of that language and just wants the points. They just like the game, right? So they're the ones noticing that at high levels, it is starting to spit out non-idiomatic phrasing in that language. And they're like, oh, no one would say it that way. Or like, this translation doesn't make any sense because it's a literal translation, but it's not how anybody ever means this phrase, stuff like that, right? And so they're the ones who spotted it like right away, were Duolingo cheaters.
I haven't thought about using it to learn English so that I can just get points for...
Just get points because you like the animation.
Does this mean AI is actually changing our collective languages? Like it's actually morphing and shaping?
It will start inventing phraseology that does not exist in the wild.
Oh no. It'll be like the George Bushisms where like the idioms get
Yes.
overlap and
Just
getting phrases
underestimated.
out of it.
Trying
All
to
right, so
remember
what-
the
Kimber's
"Don't
frozen.
fool me again."
Okay.
So what can the folks listening do to make them not part of the 5% or 20% or whatever percent that's being let go because of AI? What are some of the
Oh yeah.
things that they
Well-
need to do that?
I'm gonna
Can
take
I
some
first say
umbrage. What?
Oh.
Oh, sorry, just being awkward.
I think Streambird's
Um,
having a little issue today.
Oh, okay. Am I good?
If you want to say something before we answer that, Glenn, you can do that if you want to say something before we answer that question.
Okay. I was just gonna plant a conspiracy theory seed
Okay.
with all of this discussion, which is AI is a very accepted excuse right now to reduce your workforce
Bam, bam, bam.
under the guise of AI versus market, economy, performance, whatever. So you can actually, on paper, increase your value, your brand value or whatever, because AI is in the name, but it's actually laying off because of other reasons. That's my conspiracy theory.
I think that's reality.
I mean, stock markets love layoffs, right? Almost every time, like you get a bump, right? That's why you do it. And it's a short-term bump, and it's a way to say, boy, the economy sucks, without saying, boy, the economy sucks.
Mhm.
And if AI
But there's
does
no-
the stock or does the layoffs, then you get like the double.
Yeah, it's nobody's fault.
Nobody's fault, and value goes up.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's nothing anyone can do to preserve their job.
It's
From AI.
get your
Hello.
CEO away from the AI Kool-Aid. Show them a video called AI is not real.
Oh yeah,
It's gonna ruin everything
yeah,
in
we'll
the
do
world.
that. Yeah, we'll do
Well-
that. Here we go.
I
you go.
also I am fairly certain at this point that it should be built in, like, the career advice that we should be telling people is to always have a plan B and to always have an emergency fund, and to make sure that you have the safeguards in place, because nobody's safe, really.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if you're if you're expensive, if you're really good at your job, like, you can be cut for being expensive. And even if you're just like chugging along being a really normal person, like, that's the unfortunate reality.
That happens.
Yeah, it's just
Also,
a new career pattern.
this is the latest layoff thing or job replacement thing, but there's always something. Like, that's just being a modern society. Like, there was outsourcing, there was industrial efficiencies through steam engines. Like, there's always something that is altering the work ecosystem, or the manufacturing or output ecosystem. This is what it is right now. So to echo what Kimber's saying, like, as you go and grow in your career, it's a lot of, I don't know what you could do to keep it from happening to you, because that's usually out of your control as far as those decisions are made, but you can do things to make yourself weather that storm better. And you just kind of have to expect it's going to happen at some point, for better or worse.
Yep.
Which sucks.
It sucks.
So AI does not exist, but it will ruin everything anyway. Is a delightful video from Dr. Angela Collier, who is
Brilliant.
a working physicist. Her video, I love her videos. She's very repetitive, so it's great for like doing laundry or doing the dishes and listening to her. Like, that's just her pattern. But like, the argument she makes in this video, which you should show to your CEO, is that people will get fired, like at CrowdStrike, at Duolingo, etc. And the job is gone then. And so it'll just permanently be worse when it is revealed that, oh, it turns out AI does not cure what ails you, right? Putting aside Glenn's insightful comment of like, actually, these layoffs are going to happen anyway.
Yeah, so for folks that aren't going to watch it or listen to it, you should and make it an MP3 and put it on your podcast, whatever. You don't want to watch something on YouTube, but the core takeaways, which I agree with these takeaways. I do disagree with some of the points she makes throughout the whole thing, But AI, okay, we call it artificial intelligence. We're still not there yet. Don't believe anybody in Silicon Valley saying we're close to artificial general intelligence,
Yeah.
because we're not. These things aren't. There's no ethics in them whatsoever. They just picked the next token, which is part of a word or a whole word, by a probability. It's not, there's nothing there. There is no creativity inside these things, because it's literally just taking what everything it had before and trying to predict what the next thing is going to be. And it doesn't do stuff on its own, because it literally is just doing matrix math. The one thing I really, because she hammers this a bunch of times in the video, it's a tool. And I've been saying this on the socials a bit more lately. I don't think that folks just starting out should be using any of these tools for anything, because the only this like I actually I won't pick on Glenn. I will use Glenn as an example, because I won't use myself as one. But Glenn is wow. I can't believe I'm going to do this on air. So
I
Glenn's
don't
really
like
smart.
this,
Yeah,
where this is
so Glenn's
going.
really smart. Glenn's really smart.
Okay,
He
go
knows a
on.
lot of he knows a lot about cyber, and he also knows like when the AI is throwing BS back at him, if it ever
Mhm.
does, and he's able to use it to basically speed up work, to make it easier to do some things, to automate some things that we couldn't do before, because he's an expert at what he
Right.
does.
Right.
And the other thing I like, just like that dude from Anthropic today, like the hype is just so stupid. Like, no, there's not going to be like one super smart manager person who's going to have an AI agent farm, and no, but that's just
Right.
stupid. It's hype. It's and I hate all this stuff, because they're all doing it now, and it's just so frustrating.
It's an expert level tool that's being
Yes,
sold as a beginner, like
exactly.
level up tool. You know what
You're
I
giving
mean?
people jackhammer when they haven't even
Yeah.
held like a regular hammer.
Right.
And then they wonder when they lose their toe, like, what happened?
This was supposed to be easy.
Yeah. I'm just trying to hang this picture with this jackhammer. What went wrong?
The one thing I will also like that she does throw in there a little bit, and this has been a thing, like people do roll out AI, and they do try to replace humans with AI, and they quickly, in a lot of cases, like within a month, are trying to bring back those same humans again, because especially in the chat, like I think I might have shared this once before, maybe it was just internally, but like I was looking to like the for in fitness stuff, one of the fitness companies I buy stuff from, they just came up with this new strength thing. I'm like, tell me about this strength thing in their chatbot. I figured, okay, it's an AI chat, because I knew it was an AI chatbot. I knew it's going to have all the cool things. It can tell me if I need this one part or if I don't need this one part, and it couldn't tell me anything. They didn't train it right. They didn't do anything. And it was like, I'm never buying anything from you again. I'm literally not going to buy anything from them again because of it. And I think that's going to be a big thing for a lot of that stuff out there. I don't know, but I guess for all of us, like I'm going to guess all of us right now do use AI in some way, shape, or form for our jobs right now on this.
Yeah.
And Overwatch
Yeah,
does
and it's
it very
embarrassing
well.
to admit it. Like, and I don't know why.
That's not. I'm not. I mean, like
I
I
feel
know
the-
there's a story.
I feel embarrassed.
That there was a story about that this week, but like I look at what Overwatch is able to do with some of the tools that she's brought into the organization to help with the marketing stuff, and she's a wizard. Like Ashley, you're amazing. Like you've done really great work with those things. I have no problem saying that I use AI for my stuff, and I think I mentioned before, I have to use it some weeks when the long COVID brain gets bad. I have no choice but to use it for some weeks, and more than I actually want to or should. So I do think it's okay to do that, but I also like. I wouldn't have like one of my sons use it to try to do vibe coding in an assignment or whatever, because like that's just dangerous. You don't know what you're doing. And Glenn, you said something earlier today to me. It's like vibe coding is great until you have to change something, and then when you change one thing, the whole thing breaks, because like
Super fragile.
it wasn't designed to do.
The pro is if it doesn't work, you can just ask again and you'll get a different answer because it's unsupervised. But then the con is if it works, and then you're like, oh, I just need to change this reference, and then what worked is now just complete garbage in 1,000 ways.
Right.
I think I know that we're going to kind of morph into this on the next topic, but like thinking about what have we been hearing for the last decade is like cybersecurity skills shortage, or 2 decades, I don't know. And now we have these people, and now they're like, okay, just kidding. Like, we don't actually need your knowledge. Like, where do they think this knowledge is coming from? With like educated decisions being made around that knowledge. So it's definitely going to hit quite the intersection of kind of supply and demand.
So Glenn is mentioning this article about the Cyber PIVOT Act. I'm not going to try to
Yes.
take what it means.
Tell us about Pivot.
Pivot.
Yeah. I mean, so actually, before I do that, I'm going to be that
Dry
person on here. I'm going to be that person on here who's like, I think this is bull, whatever. Since I know the boys are watching today, I can't say it.
That's
I
baloney.
I hate this argument. I don't believe this argument. I don't think there's ever been a cybersecurity skills shortage. And Kimber, like I harken back to stuff that you say quite a bit. Like people are getting all these certs and coming out of things. They're trying to find entry level jobs, and there are no entry level jobs. And so
Truly.
I want to sling this to Kimber because you deal with a lot of these. That sounds like it's bad. That you engage with, you engage with, you shepherd, you mentor a lot of the folks that are coming into this. Do you believe this argument that there actually is this massive skills shortage and massive people shortage in cyber?
I think that the community is very confused right now, right? We're like, no, there's not a skills shortage at all. It's just like everything is different now. Like cybersecurity is now it's like just a generally accepted thing. Like pretty much everywhere has a security department nowadays. It's not like just some person who is working at the place that just happened to have a security interest. It's like there are full cybersecurity teams. So now I think some of the people in our generation of security or the older generations of security don't realize this, but like, and in order to get into the industry now, you have to have a degree. You have to have a degree. And if you don't have a degree, then you have to be able to get an internship of some kind. And these internships are largely very useless because you're not learning how to analyze things. So your degree doesn't teach you to analyze, your internship doesn't teach you to analyze, and then you're kind of stuck in this realm of like getting lost among all of the thousands of people who are now applying for these jobs. So there's no shortage. If anything, there's a shortage of roles for entry-level people to be able to prove and grow their skills.
Like so many of those jobs are really just like tool, becoming an expert in a tool, especially as entry level.
Yeah.
You know, like on one hand, it's good that we have technology and software and SEMs that correlate all this data for you and map these behaviors to follow-on actions and all that. Like that's great. It's high efficiency, machine speed, blah blah blah. The bad news is what Kimber was saying is you learn to use the tool. You learn to click the tool. You learn to interpret what the tool says. So you're not able to refine the spidey sense, the instinct that comes with knowing when it's BS, when it's real. And it's kind of back to the AI conversation. Like you have to have some sort of that. And in the old days, you would grow, you know, you'd start at the sock and kind of move your way up, and that's how you build your spidey sense. But now if you're between AI and these highly efficient tools in some way early on in your career, if you're not pulling on those threads yourself, then you're not going to get that experience anymore in the workplace. So now the onus is kind of more on you to, if you want to grow, you can't just do it by doing your job over and over and over. It's going to have to come with some homework. Which
is so frustrating because that only leads to the burnout problem, where it's like people are getting burned out younger and younger and younger because they have to up their hustle so much more.
Yes.
And like, I don't know, I think school is really important. I don't have a degree in this stuff, but and I probably never will, just because like now I don't have to necessarily. But I do think that like there is value in schooling, and there is value in having a started from the bottom, now we hear story. But like I don't know what the bottom is anymore because the industry has changed so much. And I have multiple people in like the cohort of sorts that's with the hackerspace right now who are going directly to a SOC career. Like they're either career changers or they're younger, and that's directly what they want to get into. And I'm like, well, there's other IT roles like that have value. Like there are help desks, there are network admins, like there are so many other aspects of IT that contribute to security.
And they're fun too, by the way. Like they don't have to be like help desk log, like DevOps and like getting all your AWS stuff right and keeping your costs down. Like that's a puzzle to solve, right? Like that, and that would appeal to like a big chunk of the people who would otherwise, go over to like just cyber, which I think is the other point. I definitely cut you off. I'm sorry, Kimber.
No, you're fine. That contributes, in my opinion. Because, like it's just fun.
I think it's silly to think that you can be a cyber person and not another kind of person, right? Like the cyberness
1,000%.
is that's the value add to the other thing that you actually like, right? If it's network engineering, right? That's how I started. It was network engineering, and then I got into the security stuff because that was kind of neat. But it was definitely like a flavor of, and so like if you treat it that way, then you're not in this like standalone, because it's ridiculous to have a standalone cybersecurity industry, right? Like it is an industry that exists to patch other industries. So, I mean, ideally, they would not exist.
And speaking of that, like we didn't cover this in pre-show because this literally was just a link I dropped today that got dropped on socials, and I dropped it here. But this Cato, I'm not picking on Cato. I'm just using them as a recent example because they just popped this out. They have a new AI that it's doing firewall rule optimization and a bunch of other things associated with that compliance stuff, whatever. And I guess, what is the risk? I have no idea how well this works. If they are using a large language model and GPTs inside of this for this AI powered rule optimization, I'm sorry, Cato, you shouldn't use this tool. Because even right now, if I take, like, we're making, and hopefully soon, if I can get around to it, really like open sourcing a GreyNoise MCP server. Even when I use that and it's pulling the context from GreyNoise, and it gives me a list of tags back that I was asking for a particular thing, it's using that data. If I ask it to sort the output, 1 out of every 10 times it introduces a new made up tag we don't have.
Right.
That's
And
amazing.
and this because that's what these things do. It's really hard to not have them do things like that. So, I mean, and I guess one of my fears is like someone's going to read this, they're going to go, "Ooh, this thing is going to I don't need to have some super high expensive person to do my firewall rule optimization. I can hire a junior person and they can just point and click at this thing and go do that." And like with this plus the vibe coding, I am really concerned for just how bad things are going to be in 6 months to 18 months in terms of enterprises deploying all this stuff they bought at RSA or this new stuff that just came out after RSA or whatever on here. And like exactly how bad the edge is going to be in like 6 to 18 months, because they're not going to be relying on people that know how, that can do that validation. Like I only knew that it was a tag we didn't have because I know all of our tags. That's also sad that I know all of our tags, but whatever. But so yeah, like that's scary to me. I don't know about you guys, but that's kind of scary to me.
We're definitely in the golden age, the roaring 20s of AI.
Roaring.
Like this is honestly probably as good as it gets. Not as far as technology, but as far as accuracy of it because of what it was trained on, right? And that's a whole nother topic. But this, as AI generates stuff and then the AI trains the AI, then it's going to go downhill quickly. So if we piece this together, then what we're saying is like there is no job shortage. It's just entry-level shortages. AI is making organizations make bad decisions. So for now, like hunker down, keep your real skills up. Circle back in a couple of years, and you're going to be twice as valuable when we have to correct a lot of these.
And you got to resist that siren song of vibe coding, right? Like do it for like a little thing, whatever. But you do need to remember how.
Don't deploy. Don't deploy.
Actually, write like an if then, like whatever. Like it's like don't forget how to do that.
On that note,
Zero
Bob, you said something earlier, which is time to okay. You said something earlier that I kind of want to hit on about like, or maybe it's tied about like being embarrassed to say you use AI or something. And I actually feel the opposite. Like if someone doesn't use AI for something that is, going to save them an hour of, let's categorize this list by vendor or something, something just bleh, right? Like, I judge you a little bit just because that's just a simple efficiency that AI is useful for, right? So that's just a missed opportunity. That's opportunity cost. So I don't think people should be embarrassed to say they use AI unless they're using it like, I used AI and I made this thing and now it's running on AI.com and I'm charging money for it, right? Like those are different use cases. Kitty.
Yeah,
All
Frederick
right.
had to
All right.
come say hi.
That's awesome though. Having the pets on is always good. So Kimber, there does appear to be a new I said pets. I changed it. Thank you. There isn't a new blog, but you did give us a
Bob might be a robot. He can't tell the difference between dogs and cats.
I mean, you never know these days. But you give us a sneak peek.
Actually, AI is fake. Or AI is real.
Do you want to lay down the whole new notifications again for people since it's officially rolled out now and it's not just a sneak peek of it?
It isn't officially rolled out yet. It should be. It should be for sure. But yeah, if Stormwatch watchers, Patrick, cover your ears. You don't hear this yet. But if Stormwatch watchers,
he's complaining. Yeah, he's already here. He's complaining.
If you can find the hidden sign up in Voncheck, you can subscribe to Voncheck Kev alerts, and it won't matter that CISA is no longer eating my hand. It won't matter that CISA is no longer doing the Kev, because you have Voncheck. Dark. Sorry, I am so upset about that decision from them.
I am still, yeah.
Maybe
it's a topic for another day in case people don't know what
we're
talking about yet. Just
as I said to Glenn today, we're all going to be having to get an X account to use the government one login service.
To renew your passport, you're going to log into X.
Yeah.
Yeah. X will be the new login.gov.
No, yeah, stop it.
Yeah, it's moving there. It's Todd, you have another fun blog.
It's pretty fun. I didn't write it.
Ports behaving bad. Well, it seems like all the good ones are the ones you did right. Ports behaving badly, uncovering risky protocols in unexpected places. What are these unexpected places we're talking about here?
Right behind you, Bob. Look out! It is basically this is deep packet inspection, right? So DPI is a old term that we used to call this stuff in the aughts. But basically, vulnerability scanners still seem to kind of suck at this. And so what we do is we have some protocol smarts and we know particular things about particular assets and particular vulnerabilities. And so we can say like, hey, we're going to check for RDP on port 8080 when RDP is not normally on port 8080. And then we can make calls. You do this, and this is good for a couple different reasons, right? Like one, you can say like, oh, here's an RDP bug. Let's go find it on 8080. You can do it that way. Or you can say like, hey, this thing's running RDP on a wild port that only one device that we know about does that, right? So then we can use it for fingerprinting. And so you get kind of like two bites at that apple, which is pretty fun. And this blog post uses this technology that I was just enamored of. We called it an arcade inside Run Zero. I don't know where that comes from, but it's like a flash game. And so it reminds me of Albino Black Sheep when I use it, because you just get a little like JavaScript flashy thing about our interface. And it's like a little like click here, then click here, and then notice this and all that. It's super fun. Bob's doing it right now on the screen.
It's addictive, Todd. This is addictive. This is, I feel like I'm in Severance, like doing the clicky thing.
What do you do this, Todd?
That's right. You got to refine that data. And it's really fun. But yeah, the blog is really good. It's the kind of like technical blog post I like that's very focused on like the 1.5 things. It implies some other stuff. It comes with a demo, which is insane. And then you just get to do it. So yeah, go check out our blog at runzero.com/blog, not blog.runzero.com.
If this feels like a good opportunity to point out that I've been poking around at a bunch of things and over the past few weeks, and one thing that's come up when I try to go find out what's at the other end of an IP address doing something bad, depending on what the actual behavior is of the botnet, I'm finding that there are some bot herders that are throwing proxmox on 555 TCP. And it just reminded me like, hey, everyone, you got to care about the ports, which is why
not 4 5s. 3 5s?
3 5s. 3 5s. Yeah, 3 5s. Yeah, it was weird.
All right.
Yeah, it was weird. It was very weird. And the thing is, like, Census was scanning for that, or it was 555 or 554, but they were looking on UDP. They were looking on TCP, so they weren't finding anything on them. So hopefully they're switching some of that up, because I don't know why they're hiding Proxmox on there, but they're doing that. And good on the attackers for finding beefy hosts to run Proxmox, I guess, out there. We have a couple blogs. The one that keeps getting like brought back to attention, because there was just one this morning, yesterday, this git config crawling, turns, like, I forget what the company was, but Pearson just got their GitLab completely like downloaded because they left an access key like hidden out there. And I don't know why the news.
Pearson? Is
Yeah.
it the textbook people? Oh, good.
Yeah, textbook. Yeah, like, it's pretty bad. I mean, it's sort of related to this because you just left the key hanging out everywhere. It's not really like this. We Noah also did a really good breakdown. Thank I did not have to write it this year. Of the DBIR blog. I think we mentioned that last time too. So definitely read that if you want to get our perspective and how it ties in with the findings that we did on the report that Todd likes so much. We did it again. We did it again.
Oh, we did it.
We made it.
We did it.
All right. Come to Montreal.
The news.
And the sound of my voice.
Todd's talk, Ron's workshop. Todd's talk, and because it might be the last time you get to see Todd freely. So yeah, like, it's it'd be pretty good to do that. You never know. You never know.
Right. On my way to the gulag.
We just found out that our whole company offsite's in September, and it's in Arlington. So I get to see my grandkids again then, but also I don't have to take on a plane because I'm terrified of going on a plane.
When in September?
After the show, I'll be glad to send that to you. Yes.
Please.
Yeah. So cool.
Sorry.
And parting shots.
I'm gonna be in DMV in September. So
nice. Oh, cool. Awesome. Parting words, parting shots, parting advice, parting AI wariness.
Parting words: if you expect to see your Kev alert in RSS today or in the future, go look elsewhere.
Go look at dash data on GitHub.
And complain. No, seriously, politely provide feedback.
There's a feedback
you would like them
and everything on the internet.
Use it. It does help. It actually does help if you do that. Get involved. You can change things. Y'all can change things.
Yeah, that's my.
You Kev at mail.cisa.dhs.gov and say, WTF, mates, why are we not doing RSS anymore?
This is why we have the former section chief.
Yeah.
For Kev right here. Cool. All right. Well, that is a wrap for this episode. So remember whether you're dodging AI pink slips or sifting through bug bounty bot blunders, don't let the workforce woes get you down. Stay patched, stay sharp, and may your only shortage be of bad puns. Catch you on the next Storm Watch, where we promise the only thing automated is our sense of humor.
No.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.